Often when you think of the physical you, me in my personality, me that was born on such and such a date to such and such parents at such and such a place, me, this physical expression of source energy, most of you do not think of yourselves as vibration, because you're so good at being vibration, you don't know you're being vibration. You interpret vibration so well through your physical senses that you determine this physical reality, and you call it reality, and we say it's a reality that is a interpretation, because your interpreters of sight and sound and touch and taste and smell are making it what it is for you, but it is still vibration. And if you can begin to accept yourself first and foremost as vibration, then you can utilize your guidance system. Then you can recognize the guidance that is available to you in every moment, which is the vibrational relationship. You could say vibrational relativity or comparison between the true vibrational nature of you, the furthest, most expanded vibrational nature of you, and the vibration that you got going on right here, right now, in this moment, regarding whatever thought is active within you and causing the vibrational frequency that you are emitting. You are vibrational beings. Always have been, always will be. But you are not just vibrating from your physically focused standpoint, you are vibrating from your source energy non-physical standpoint. And that part of you includes all that you have become. You were source energy before you came into this body, and even though a part of that source energy has now come into this body, the larger part still remains non-physical. So as you are here in your physical personality, sifting through contrast, knowing what you don't want, which causes you to know what you do want, even if you don't put words to it, when that knowing emanates from you vibrationally, the larger part of you becomes it. In other words, you in your physical form cause constant expansion of the larger non-physical eternal part of you. And that non-physical part of you emits that newly amended, newly discovered, newly created because of your life experience in your physical body signal, emanates that new signal. So that new signal of your furthest most expansion is beaming to you all the time, and you're having a relationship, a vibrational relationship with that beaming. In other words, who you really are, even before your birth and certainly since then, has come to the vibrational stance of love. That's the signal that who you really are beams all the time. When you find something unlovable and you focus upon it, and you conclude that it is unlovable, and you make a sort of career out of focusing on how unlovable it is, until you train yourself into a frequency that knows about this unlovable thing, you've set up vibrational discord between you and you. So you don't feel love, you feel discord, which is what hate is. You don't feel love, you feel discord, which is what anger is. In other words, your emotions tell you all day, every day, they give you the emotional feedback of this two vibrational relationships that you've got going on. It's very interesting to participate with you as you are here in your physical form, because you are doing exactly as you said you would do. You came into your body, you are exploring the magnificent diversity, and you are coming to your own personal preferences of what would be better. And what many of you don't realize is that every time you come to one of those preferences, the larger part of you becomes it. In other words, if you're rude to someone, you feel the discord of that. And when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And so you emanate a signal of wanting to get along better, or wanting to be an uplifter, not someone who is rude. Well, when you emanate that signal, the larger part of you becomes clearer about that, more loving than you were even before your escapade into rudeness. If someone is rude to you, you know what you don't want. You would like the world to be a nicer place. And the larger part of you immediately begins, because of what you have just experienced, seeing the world as nicer than the source saw it before you had your experience with the rude person. When you're sick, The source within you becomes weller. When you're confused, the source within you becomes clearer. Because on the other side of the wave, the vibrational wave of what you don't want is an equivalent wave of what you do want, even if you don't put words to it. Jerry and Esther ordered a beautiful piece of furniture in California to be delivered to their new house in Texas. And they waited a long time for it. And when it came, it was all wrapped up. It was a console table, and it was wrapped up, really well wrapped up. And Esther was so happy that it was so well wrapped up because she knew that it would be in very good condition, so well wrapped up. And the nice men who brought it, the white glove service who brought it, that were going to unwrap it and place it where they wanted it to be, as they unwrapped it and Esther looked at it, she was so thrilled with the beauty of this magnificent table, but it was upside down on the dolly. And when they picked it up to turn it over, the top fell off the bottom, and the bottom went crashing to the floor and broke its leg and made a hole in the floor and caused Esther to utter something we can't repeat, or it would have to be edited, and caused Jerry to utter something even worse. And well, it always sounds worse coming from him because it's so out of character. And so the men stood there with no blood in their faces at all. They were completely good children. No color at all in their face. And Esther said to them, because she had witnessed it happening, she saw the top was just inadequately attached to this very heavy base. There was no way they could have turned it over, given the circumstances that they were dealing with, without what happened happening. And Esther immediately said to them, this was not your fault, this was not your fault, this was not your fault. The top was attached with very small screws. So then Esther and the lovely woman who ordered it began calling the company to find out what could be done. First, can we get a new base? Second, will you pay for it, since we were sort of booby-trapped here? And over a sequence of many, many emails, it was concluded by the people who sold the piece that it was not their responsibility. And Esther doesn't really disagree with that because they weren't there. They didn't have their hands on it. They didn't drop it. They probably weren't there when it was wrapped up either. In other words, trying to point culpability is really a sort of ridiculous thing to try to do. And Jerry and Esther are very much believers in taking responsibility for their own experience. And so after much conversation, Esther's email was, we will find a way of repairing it, or we will find a way of replacing it. Let's just leave this where it is. And right before she came to that very powerful conclusion, some bedroom furniture was delivered. Now, Jerry and Esther aren't there. They're only getting reports through the telephone. And a big console was cracked. Right down the front, cracked. The picture shows the crack. Now, since Esther wasn't there, she didn't hurt anyone. In fact, her response was to laugh about it, because it's really getting to be funny how much evidence she is receiving as to the vibrational frequency she's got going on about furniture delivery, or about people doing what they're supposed to do, or about people paying attention to what they're doing, or about people thinking about what they're doing. In other words, there are many tentacles to this. But Esther's email to her friend and decorator was, let's just not talk about any of this until the curse lifts. And it was Esther's humorous way of really wanting to take responsibility for everything that's happening in her experience. Now, anyone looking at this, of course, the people who sold the furniture, their email was really funny. My mother, who owns the shop, is tired of having to pay for other people's mistakes, she said. And Esther is laughing. That's an odd thing for her to say to us. A very odd thing. But as Esther and Jerry and Carol are discussing all of this, they realize that there's no way out of this. In other words, you can't stand in the middle of this as it stands and figure it out and shift your vibration to begin getting different results. Esther's first response was, hold all furniture deliveries until later. In other words, let's just stop the action until we get a vibrational grip here. Because we're responding to one thing which is causing us to offer a vibration to it, which is setting us up for the next and the next and the next and the next and the next. And we say, don't you love it when obvious things point out to you how the law of attraction works? Don't you love knowing that even though you didn't break the table and you didn't want it to be broken and you really don't think you expected it to be broken, you responded to it being broken, and it doesn't matter where your vibration was before, you're having a response to a broken table that is not setting you up well for future tables coming. In other words, you just can't get around it. Your response to what is happening in this now reality is causing you to practice a vibration. Now you can proclaim, and Esther did some of this, not much. You can proclaim, it's not my fault. You can proclaim, hey, it's real. This really happened. You can proclaim how right you stand in relationship to where other people are standing on the subject. You can proclaim that all you want. But the fact of it is, you are having a vibrational response to something that future things are responding to that vibration. And this is the way we want to put it to you in a way that you can really hear it. You are letting reality train your vibrational frequencies. You're letting what is train you. Now that's all right if what is pleasing, and plenty of it is. If you could be a really good selective sifter and really just scour every moment, every face, every person, every situation, every memory, every idea, every subject, if you could just scour it looking for things to appreciate, what is could serve you so well, because then what is would train you into a frequency that would produce more and more and more and more wonderful things. But if you are problem-oriented, you're not. That's the thing that's so funny. You're not problem-oriented. You are eternally solution-oriented. But most humans are stuck in the problem part of the solution. And so what we want to suggest, some of you have been with us for a while, yes? Some of you have been listening to us for years. Some of you are listening to us on a really regular basis, reading everything that we write, wanting so much to become a vibrational match to your best well-being. We want to say to you that in everything that we've encouraged you to do, and all of it has been with the interest in helping you to clean up your resistance and therefore allow your movement into this vortex where the solutions and the good life that you want is. We have a suggestion that is really simple and really powerful, that if you can hear it on the heels of everything that we've presented to you here today, will serve you maybe better than everything that you've ever heard or attempted or practiced or tried before, all put together. And that is, if you can accept the reality and the validity of this vortex of creation, if you can accept that, yeah, there's a physical reality going on, but there's a vibrational reality going on too. And if you can accept that this vibrational reality is the present tense, real-time, expanded, amended version of who you have become, and you will care more than everything else in your life put together about your relationship with this vortex, your relationship with the inner being, with the God who is within you. If you will care about the existence of this vortex, and you will care about tuning yourself to it, and then when you find yourself in this vortex, which means you're feeling free, or you're feeling interested, or you're feeling frisky, or you're feeling a little elation, or you're just feeling happy, you're feeling appreciation or love. When you find yourself in a moment feeling that, if you will stop and acknowledge, I'm in the vortex. I'm in the vortex. I'm really in alignment in this moment with everything that I am. And you will contemplate that and Do everything you can to milk this moment for more vortex time.